Welcome to Networking with Typical Monk, Class 1, your journey to the CCNA. Stop for a moment and think about what just happened when you opened this video. Your request left your device, hopped through a switch, was handed to a router, crossed dozens of networks, and perhaps an ocean of undersea cable, found exactly the right server among billions, and the reply came back, all in a fraction of a second. That invisible machinery is the network, and networking is the skill of designing, building, and running it. The CCNA, the Cisco Certified Network Associate, Exam 200-301, is the industry standard certification that proves you can do exactly that. Think of it as a driving license for networks. It tells any employer, anywhere in the world, that you understand the rules of the road and can be trusted at the controls. It is the single best entry point into a networking career, respected by employers everywhere, and it opens doors from network administrator to security and automation specialist. Over this course, we will walk one idea at a time through every concept the CCNA test, how data actually moves, IP addressing, switching, routing, network services, security, and automation. Always building from first principles in Hindi and English together. Today we map the whole journey, what a network really is, the layers it is built from, how data travels across it, and the shape of the exam and the road ahead. One idea at a time. Here is the map of today's journey. 6 ideas that turn the vague word networking into something you can actually picture. First, what a network really is, the devices and how they connect. Second, the layered model, the single most powerful idea in all of networking, the mental model everything else hangs on. Third, how data actually travels, what happens to your message as it crosses the wire. Fourth, the 6 exam domains, exactly what the CCNA tests and how much each part counts. The hard fifth, the exam format and the course roadmap, what the test looks like and the path we will climb. And sixth, how to study and where CCNA leads, the rhythm that makes it stick and the careers it unlocks. One idea at a time. Let us start with the simplest possible picture and build it up piece by piece. Because every network on earth, from your home to a giant data center, is made of just these parts. It begins with a host, your PC, your phone, any device that wants to communicate. But one device alone is not a network. It needs to connect. So we add a switch, the device that links many computers together on one local network, learning who sits where and forwarding traffic between them intelligently, not blindly. It does this by quietly learning the hardware address of every device plugged into it, so that when your PC sends a message to one neighbor, the switch delivers it to that single port alone, instead of shouting it to everyone. A switch connects a local group, but to reach the wider world, you need a router, the gateway that sits at the edge and moves traffic between different networks, deciding which path a message should take next. Picture the switch as the corridors inside a building, and the router as the door to the street. And beyond your router lies the internet, not one thing, but millions of networks all joined together, each router handing your data to the next until it reaches its destination on the far side of the world. No single router knows the whole route. Each one simply knows the best next step, and that humble idea is what lets a network the size of the planet actually work. So the takeaway, a network is simply devices connected to share data, hosts joined by switches, networks joined by routers, and CCNA is how you learn to design, build, and run them. Now, the single most important idea in all of networking. The one that makes everything else understandable. Networking is not one giant tangled system. It is built in layers, each with one clear job, stacked neatly on top of each other. At the top is the application layer, the part you actually see and use. When you open a website or send an email, you are working right here with protocols like HTTP for the web and DANS for turning names into addresses. This layer cares only about your data and trusts the layers below to deliver it. Beneath it is the transport layer, whose job is delivery. It takes your data, breaks it into manageable pieces, and decides how reliably to send them. TCP for careful, guaranteed delivery where nothing may be lost, and OTP for fast, lightweight delivery like a live video call. If a piece goes missing under TCP, the far side notices and asks for it again. Under OTP, it is simply skipped because in a live call a lost instant is better than a frozen one. It also stamps on port numbers, so the far side knows which application each message belongs to. Below that sits the internet layer, the home of IP, the Internet Protocol. This layer is about addressing and routing, giving every device an IP address and finding a path across many networks to reach it. And at the very bottom is the link layer, the actual physical hop from one device to the next over an Ethernet cable or Wi-Fi. So the takeaway, networking is built in layers, each doing one job and then handing off to the next. Learn these 4 layers, and every single topic in this course will have a clear place to live. Those layers are not just for tidiness, they describe exactly what happens to your message the instant it leaves your device. The process has a name worth remembering: encapsulation. Follow it from left to right. It starts as your data, a simple message. Say the word hello you are sending to a friend. On its own, that data has no idea how to reach anyone. It is just content. So each layer wraps it in an envelope of its own. The transport layer wraps your data into a segment, stamping on a port number so the far side knows which application it is meant for. Then, the internet layer wraps that segment into a packet, stamping on the source and destination IP addresses, the from and to, for the entire journey across the internet. The port number is like the apartment number, and the IP address is like the street address. Together, they get your message not just to the right building, but to the right door inside it. Finally, the link layer wraps the packet into a frame, adding the hardware address for the very next hop, and turns the whole thing into raw bits, pulses of electricity or radio, sent out across the wire. At the other end, the receiving device does the exact reverse. It peels off each envelope, layer by layer, until your original hello emerges perfectly unchanged. So the takeaway, data travels by encapsulation. Each layer adds its own address on the way out, and the far side unwraps them on the way in. Truly grasp this one journey, and packets, ports, and IP addresses stop being jargon and start being obvious. Now that you can picture a network, let us look at the shape of the exam itself. The CCNA is organized into 6 domains, and knowing their weightage tells you exactly where to spend your energy. The biggest by far is IP connectivity at 25%. This is routing, how routers choose the best path, and it sits at the very heart of the exam. Right behind it, network fundamentals at 20%. The concepts we are beginning today. Together, these 2 largest domains are really one story: how devices are addressed and how traffic finds its way between them, which is why we spend so much of the course right here. Then, network access, also 20%. This is switching, VLANs and wireless, how devices join and share the local network. And security fundamentals at 15%. The essential protections every network needs to survive a hostile internet. From day one, a network exposed to the world is under constant automated attack, so security is not an optional extra bolted on at the end. It is woven through every layer you will learn. Finally, 2 smaller but very modern slices. IP services at 10%. The helpful services like DTP and NAT that quietly make networks usable, and automation and programmability. Another 10%, the future of the field, where networks are configured by code instead of by hand. A decade ago, an engineer typed every command into every device by hand. Today, one script can configure 1,000 devices at once, and knowing how to write it is fast becoming the difference between a good salary and a great one. So the takeaway, 6 domains and IP connectivity at 25% is the largest. But notice that fundamentals, access, and connectivity together make up most of the exam. So the groundwork we lay in these early classes matters most of all. Let us make the exam concrete, so it feels less like a mystery and more like a challenge you can plan for. It runs about 120 minutes, 2 hours. And in that time, you'll face roughly 100 questions. So pacing genuinely matters. You cannot afford to linger too long on any single one. Those questions come in three flavors. Multiple choice, which tests whether you know the facts. Drag and drop, which tests whether you can match and order concepts correctly. And most importantly, hands-on simulations, where you configure a real virtual device, because Cisco wants proof that you can actually do the job, not merely recite it. To pass, you need roughly 825 out of 1,000, a demanding bar of about 82%, which is exactly why steady, hands-on practice beats last-minute cramming every time. So the takeaway: one exam, code 200-301, around 100 questions in 2 hours, testing you with multiple choice, drag and drop, and real hands-on simulations. Do not let that intimidate you. Though, every question is drawn from a fixed, published list of topics, so there are no surprises. If you have learned and labbed the material, you have seen it all before. So how will this course carry you from today's first picture all the way to passing that exam? Let us walk the whole road, because every class has its place on it. We begin with fundamentals, the concepts and the layered model we started today, and then move into switching, where you learn how local networks are built and how devices on them find one another. From there, we climb to the core, IP addressing, learning to divide and assign addresses cleanly, then routing, the largest domain, where you teach routers to find the best path, and then IP services, the quiet helpers like DGP and NAT. Finally, we reach security, protecting the network from attack and automation, configuring networks with code. And we close with a capstone project that ties every piece together into one working design you build yourself. Notice the shape of it. Each concept you meet is immediately used by the next, so by the capstone, nothing is new. You are simply assembling tools you already know. So the takeaway: the course climbs in a deliberate order. Fundamentals, switching, addressing, routing, services, security, automation, and a capstone. Each module standing firmly on the one before, so nothing ever feels like a leap. And because we always pair each idea with a hands-on lab, you will not just recognize these topics on exam day. You will have already built each of them with your own hands. A certification like this is not passed by reading alone. It is passed by doing. So let me give you the simple rhythm we will repeat in every single class. The rhythm that actually makes networking stick. First, learn the concept, understand the idea clearly, the way we are doing right now, until you could explain it in your own words to a friend. Then lab it, and this is the step most people skip, and most later regret skipping. Build it yourself in a free simulator like Cisco Packet Tracer. Wire up the devices, type the real commands, and watch it work, or watch it break, which teaches you even more. Your hands must know it, not just your eyes. Then review. Go back and find the gaps where your understanding was shaky, and close them before you move on, so small confusions never pile up into big ones. Networking is deeply cumulative. A shaky grasp of addressing today becomes a wall you cannot climb at routing tomorrow. So an honest hour of review now saves you a painful week later. Now set the takeaway, must CCNA the same way in every class. Learn the concept, lab it with your own hands, review and fix the gaps, then repeat. Do that faithfully, and the exam itself becomes a formality. Finally, let us lift our eyes to where this journey actually leads. Because CCNA is not the destination, it is the on-ramp to an entire career. CCNA is where you start, and on its own, it opens real. Paying first roles, NOC engineer, watching over a network operations center, network administrator, keeping a company's network healthy day to day, and support engineer. Troubleshooting the problems real users hit. These are solid, in-demand jobs you can reach with this one certification. And they are only the beginning. Networking sits underneath the cloud, underneath security, underneath every online service, which is why the skill never goes out of demand. From there, the path branches, and you choose your specialism towards C&P for deeper, professional-level networking, towards security, defending networks from attackers, or toward DevNet and automation. where networking meets programming and code configures the infrastructure. You do not have to know today which branch is yours. You specialize as you grow, one certification and one job at a time, and the field keeps expanding faster than it can be filled. So the takeaway, CCNA opens the door to network, security, and automation careers, a foundation broad and solid enough to build an entire working life upon. Whichever branch you choose, the fundamentals we begin today never leave you. Routing, addressing, and the layered model are the bedrock every advanced topic is built on. Let us gather the whole class in one breath so it locks into memory. A network is simply devices connected to shared data, hosts joined by switches, networks joined by routers, and CCNA proves you can build and run them. Networking is built in layers: application, transport, internet, and link, each with one clear job. And data travels by encapsulation. Each layer wraps your message with its own address on the way out, and the far side unwraps it on the way in. The exam 200-301 has 6 domains, with IP connectivity at 25% leading the way. The roadmap climbs in order from fundamentals to a final capstone, and the study rhythm never changes: learn, lab, review, repeat. And beyond the exam, CCNA opens real careers in networks, security, and automation. Next class, what is a network? In depth, topologies, and architectures. One idea at a time. The journey begins. The internet can feel like magic, but it is not. It is switches, routers, addresses, and layers, all working together by clear, learnable rules. The CCNA is where you learn those rules, one at a time, until the whole system stops being a mystery and becomes something you can build, break, and fix with confidence. Remember the shape of it? A network is devices sharing data. It is organized in layers. Data crosses it by encapsulation. The exam has 6 domains led by IP connectivity, and the way through is a steady rhythm. Learn a concept, lab it with your own hands, review it, and repeat. Do that class by class, and CCNA opens the door to a genuine networking career. Next class, we go deeper into the very first question. What is a network? Really? One idea at a time, let us begin.